This is Bill Perkins, and I'm going to tell the story of the fish that I caught in Daytona that I put on Facebook in October 2013. And I call it a miracle catch. And what I mean by miracle, it was a God thing. It was God sending me a message. And this is the story. I think you'll be able to see the fish in my Facebook. So I was at a point in my life where I had acknowledged to myself, to others, that I was an alcoholic. And I had been through AA up in Virginia quite a bit, and decided I wanted to come back to South Carolina. And my Barbara and I were separated at the time, and I wanted to come back to South Carolina and make things right, but the time wasn't right, and I wasn't ready to be a husband and a father again. I needed to get cleaned up. So I was on, this is when I was on a trip to Daytona with some people that I had met. They were selling inner soles for shoes that were cushions. And they were at the Daytona Bike Week selling the inner soles, and asked me if I wanted to. I met them in Myrtle Beach, and they said, "You want to go down to Daytona and help sell these soles, inner soles?" I said, "Sure, I have nothing else to do." So they paid for my hotel and gave me some money for food and gas, and we went out to Daytona Raceway and sold inner soles. And then at night, I decided I wanted to go fishing. So I found a little city park across the bridge there. You'd cross the bridge from the main beach area and go into a city park where there was some ponds. So I thought I'd fish in those little ponds. And I had a bait net, so I tossed it out. And while pulled in some bait fish, poured them in a bucket, and they're swimming around in the bucket. And I would use them as bait. I wasn't catching anything, but I thought maybe there was something in there. And I was in a state of mind where I was open to God speaking to me through anything. And I was just kind of meditating and talking to God, and I said, if you would just give me some kind of sign, a symbol, or a thing for a little encouragement, because I'm down now, Father. I'm really down. And so I kept fishing, and it was getting close to dark, and here comes this kid on a skateboard. And he comes, and I look around, and it's only me and him in this park. So I was a little concerned about my safety, and he had a sleeveless shirt on, tattoos everywhere, and he's cruising down through there in a skateboard. He comes up to me, stops, and he says, "Catch anything?" I said, "No, I've got these little bait fish here, minnows, and that's it, nothing biting. I said, no, I'm not surprised. I said, you're fishing in the wrong place. I said, yeah. I said, yeah, you should be off that bridge over there. Fish off the bridge. Let me see what you got in the bucket here. You got a croaker in there. One croaker. He reached down in the bucket, picked up the fish, and the fish was going, oh. He said, "You hear that noise? That's what's going to get you a fish if you're going to catch one tonight. If you're not going to get one here, you're going to get it over there on that bridge." And I said, well, how come you know so much about what's going on? He said, well, two things. Number one, I'm from Daytona. I know what it's like to fish around here. Number two, I've got a master's degree in offshore and freshwater fishing in Florida. I'm working on my PhD. I said, you're kidding. I said, no. He said, I work for the Department of Fisheries and whatever it was in Florida. And I go around giving lectures to people who are on vacation fishing and teach them what's good for bait, how to tell the right fish that you can keep, what the measurements are of the fish that you can keep. And I go all over Florida, mainly northern Florida, giving lectures to clubs, men's clubs, fishing clubs, things of that nature. I said, my goodness, you must know a lot about fishing. He said, yeah. And when I was going to school, I worked as a chef in a fish restaurant. So I know everything about cooking fish, too. I said, wow, that's something. He said, well, it's get about time for the redfish to come down around the oyster beds or right off that bridge. Why don't we go up there? I said, well, the problem is I broke my reel, where you wind it, the handle broke. So it's like a handicap reel. It doesn't have a handle. He said, well, let's deal with it. He said, come on, let's go up there. He said, no, you can throw those other bait fish away. They're not going to get you anything. But get that croaker. Get that croaker. And hook him this way. Hook him through his mouth this way. Because the redfish is going to bite him head on. He's going to approach him head on. So the scales of that fish won't irritate the redfish as he swallows it. So get him so that hook, when he tries to get rid of that, is going to hook him when it comes out. And I said, okay. He said, now, take it and cast it out. He said, and what you want to look for is a feel. He says, let that fish swim on his own, that little croaker. Don't move the rod at all. Let that fish swim and be free. Free line, he called it. I said, okay. He said, I said, how do you know when the redfish bites it? He said, oh, you'll know. You'll know how that, he said, the tip of that rod will boom, like that. And I said, you mean like what it's doing right now? And we looked up, and that tip of that rod, he said, give me that rod. So I gave it to him, and he jerked it back. He said, you got one. But we couldn't reel it. So I said, here, you take it. So he took it, and he somehow reeled best he could, with no handle on it. And he started walking down the bridge. The string got tighter and tighter. And lo and behold, the fish came up to the top of the water. And it was this fish. And it said, now, it's going to go for the oyster beds. So if he gets in there, he'll cut the line. I said, well, you take it. And he played that fish. And then he moved that fish on down to the bank. And I looked at him and I said, do you have a fishing license? He said, yeah, but it's at home. I said, well, I don't have one. He said, well, we better let it go. I said, I'm not letting it go. That's the biggest fish I've ever caught in my life. I'm getting that fish. So we maneuvered that fish. We got it up on the bank, and we took that picture. And I said, he said, what are we going to do now? I said, we're going to my hotel room and fillet this baby. So he and I went to my hotel room, took his knife out of the hotel kitchen, and filleted that fish. I gave him half, and I kept half. And the next day, I ate my half for lunch. And God's message to me was, wasn't that a miracle? That the very person to help you catch that fish, who knew everything about it, where to throw it, how to hook the bait, how to work the fish, was an expert, educated expert. I don't send just average people. I send experts. I'm with you. Trust me. Be calm. Know that I'm with you. This is going to take a while, but it's going to be fun. And that's my story about that fish. Thank you.